simplified a process to begin with, like a real process. What about a form for stateless people? As lawyers, practicing in the immigration context, one thing that we do is we often go to CIC's own publications, and those are the manuals that are used by CIC or IRCC's staff members in making determinations on decisions, and they provide a lot of guidance about, what are the criteria and what are the requirements and how are decisions made. And this really isn't there for stateless people. With the exception, which I believe Andrew alluded to, of Section 5.5 of the Citizenship Act for stateless people with, one Canadian parent born after 2009, there really isn't much there to work with. So we need, this is an administrative legal process. We need a process. We need forms. We need guidance so that someone who's stateless can see, okay, what do I need? And if I don't have this document, then what are acceptable secondary documents? What are examples of these documents to at least have some idea of how to navigate the system? And then I just think the overarching approach of rights-based consideration of these cases, that looking at Canada's human rights obligations under international treaties, looking at our obligations for the best interests of children, and really always having that in mind in determining these cases. Yes, the government can find excuses to say no for administrative reasons, like you don't fit this checkbox. But when you look at our larger obligations, human rights obligations, then yes, we do fit. And just because someone's stateless, it's not good enough to say, well, you don't fit, so you don't exist, when clearly people do exist and are deserving of human rights because of that very fact.
I would probably add another element. Over all the issues we've had to deal with CIC management, case management, it was totally impossible to speak to anyone. Had we been able to, probably we could have avoided a few issues. We could have been able to talk them into understanding everything had to be done in writing. Don't mind doing the writings, but sometimes you need to talk to someone. And here, there's absolutely no one who had a special interest in the children's case.
I'd like to add to access for stateless people. Stateless people in Canada are among the most marginalized people because we have no rights. We live in fear, being put in detention centers, being deported to countries that we have no ties to. Most are on the streets. I've met people on the streets that are like me because they gave up. There is nobody that can help them. There is no way. But we have to give them hope. We have to show them there is a way and that we can bring them home.
And if I can just add one more thing, I just really wanted to support Michelle's point about the discretionary element for the minister working on this case with DPEN for 4 years. One of actually the legal arguments that we made was that the minister, one of the reasons, well, there's a couple of reasons we didn't want to approach the minister for the declaration. One is because DPEN asserts that he is a citizen, and so that would undermine the whole legal case. And secondly, even if we were to, the minister, the former minister of Citizenship and Immigration, at multiple times tweeted that if DPEN didn't want to be deported, he shouldn't have chosen a life of crime. And so part of our legal argument was that the minister had already made up their mind about this case, so there was no need. And the courts did not agree with that, but I think the problem is with that discretionary element. So there's too much room for politics to come in.
I came to Canada. There are certain dates that you never forget. It was on 12th of February 1985 that I came to Canada and applied for refugee status. I remember those days with deep sigh because you had immigration officers just very, very empathetic to you. They acted like a counselor. Anytime we wanted, we had access to the counselor. They look at different cases. They made recommendations and they were after your vote. But we have lost those days. There is no personal contact with immigration. Everything has become bureaucratic by paper. The second problem is that there is no link between immigration and human rights. For years and years at the Canadian Council for Refugees, we have been asking for a kind of ombudsperson for human rights, so to oversight immigration is lacking, no parliamentary oversight, nothing. And the third problem is bureaucratization of the system at all levels. We need to address these issues if we want to make any change in the plight of stateless people. And I feel very upset that we have so many cases and there is no connection whatsoever between human rights and non-governmental agencies, refugee rights organizations, and immigration. We write and no answer and no answer.
My name is Jamie Lennett, and I'm a doctoral student in the School of Social Work at McGill University. First, I just want to say thank you to all of you for being here, especially to Donovan and to Kia for sharing your stories with so much bravery, so thank you very much for that. And to the other panelists for sharing the stories of other people who are affected by statelessness. It strikes me that we've talked a lot about the legal invisibility of statelessness today, but there's also this undercurrent of social invisibility and the exclusion from access to employment, access to healthcare, education, and so on. So some of you have touched on those things, but these are really issues of provincial jurisdiction. So I have a two-part question. First is if any of the panelists can comment on how provinces are dealing with the issue and or not dealing with the issue, and whether or not there has been any leadership shown or discretion shown in terms of giving people access to social services or to other forms of social inclusion. And then the other question to Donovan and Kia is really more, you've been living this situation your whole lives. What I'm interested in is, what survival strategies have you actually employed and had to employ in order to survive the situation of statelessness and the social exclusion that's come along with it?
Very last question for myself, it was just simply move. I'm a person of the land. I moved all the time, constantly. I had to see what was around the next corner, over the next mountain, down that river. Why stay in one place when it just leads to trouble? Yeah, the fear of being detained. You've heard the detention stories. That's the greatest thing. The RCMP, people like us, our hearts stop. Because is this the day that I lose my only right, freedom to move around? It was just move for me. Kia's been more fortunate, but the truth is Kia, if he didn't have the support that he had up to this point, he'd be on the streets also, moving around, because there is no place for us.
I guess for me, a good survival strategy is, one of the main ones is basically, it's sad, but basically letting people know you'll let them take advantage of you if, they employ you or, whatever. So, basically putting up with that. Obviously you can't do it forever because you start to feel resentment for, certain people, but, basically just being in that state where you let people know. And there are a lot of people who will take advantage of you if you're in a vulnerable situation. And to survive, if you don't want to be homeless or whatever, you have to be willing to, be degraded and, by being treated like a lesser human being, basically, yeah.
I'll comment on your question about provincial involvement. so not related to Donovan and Kia's case, I worked on a permanent residency application. Wasn't a stateless person, but someone without status in Canada, who essentially, when she was really young, been left with a cult in remote British Columbia, and did a humanitarian and compassion grounds application. And in that situation, the provincial government in BC did exercise discretion. When she became 18, they provided a special youth agreement that would provide her fundamentals to pay for housing and food. It was fairly minimal, but it certainly was helpful. BC has a special office, a representative for children and youth, which is meant also to be independent from the government. I'm not aware of how it works in other provinces, and certainly that was useful in my arguments on the immigration context, that look, the provincial government has stepped up, realized that there are super compelling humanitarian and compassionate factors in this case to exercise discretion and provide a compassionate decision, and urge the federal government to do the same, which in the end they did.
From a Quebec standpoint, I would say we will have to wait the results of the challenges being made and the recourse being taken, because we just don't want to wake the provincial government, because there's so many issues that are likely to come up from that point. I just don't want to think about them right now.
We only
Hi,
have 5 more minutes before the lunch, so then if you can make your question really short.
Yeah, actually, my name is Yisakavram. Also a stateless person, but the question I wanted to ask, first of all, I'd like to say thanks to Jocelyn for inviting me down here for this conference, and big thanks to you and HCR for the organization of this conference. My situation is because I came down here as a refugee, and I got my notice of decision from RIB as applied for my permanent residence, and for the past 5 years, nothing has happened. It just got stopped. So I read about an article on Yahoo, and I got in contact with Jocelyn, and she got it in quarter back. So we talked and we discussed, and she invited me down here. So my question now is, I have a home, I bought a house legally here, but my name is not in the house because I can't get a mortgage because I don't have a document. I'm nobody. I have to use the name of my mother-in-law to get a mortgage, and I'm paying for this house legally. So and I have 3 kids here. So to me it's confusing. And also in a country back in Africa, a country called Gambia, making their own citizens to be stateless because of their sexual orientation, because I haven't had anything like that here. So we should consider that too, those people that are because they are not the way we think that they are, the government has the right to slaughter you, or that is, you should be lucky to be stateless than to be killed. So I think we the panel should also think about those ways and how to help those who are because of their sexual orientation they became stateless. Thanks.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks so much, everybody. And I think that we are getting ready for lunch, aren't we, Josh?
Are we ready for lunch? Yeah, it's time for lunch. So give a round of applause to all the presenters. So now that we're at the mid part of the day, we've done both our 2 panels, international law and Canadian compliance, as well as people and last on the issues. I want to thank everyone for coming, and I specifically want to thank Kia for making that very long drive to come to Ottawa to share his story. And I'd also like to add that there is Wi-Fi here, but if anyone would like to live tweet Kia's story towards the government or towards the UNHCR, you can obviously, the handle is behind us, and the hashtag for the global campaign to end statelessness by 2024 is hashtag I belong. Now we're just going to switch to lunch. It's going to happen from now to 2:15. And as you're having lunch, we're also going to have the videos behind us that are going to kind of collaborate with the global campaign to end statelessness, which the UNHCR launched to end by 2024. So as you're enjoying your lunch, which is being opened at the back as we speak, please take a note of the videos and the different marketing communications material that the UNHCR has put together in order to spread the issue of statelessness, not just domestically in Canada, but internationally as well. So once again, thank you to the participants and thank you to everyone. We'll see you all back here at 2:15, I believe. Thank you.
Они не смогли решить с моими документацией. И по сегодняшнему дню я лицо. Я живая, мне 22 года, но меня не существует. Я живу с бабушкой.
Когда ноги поломаны, так это документ.
Мои родители, они не смогли решить с моими документацией. И по сегодняшнему дню я лицо без гражданства. И поэтому не могу осуществить мою мечту. Я всегда с детства мечтал стать известным спортсменом. Я давал неплохие результаты, но не могу развиваться, пойти вперед. Но я все равно продолжаю свой спорт, так как хочу добиться своей цели, несмотря на все эти трудности. Благодаря моим знакомым я нашел свою работу. В городе все двери закрыты, не принимаем. Они не хотят рисковать, но так я здесь работаю пока. Я думаю, что скоро получу какие-то устроюсь на хорошую работу и не продолжу свой спорт. 7 лет а я здесь не говорят ничего меня все еще чтобы стать хорошим тренером, я могу подать между. Но для этого
ชื่อฉันชื่อนางสาวอาเต้มาเยอะท้ายนี้หนูก็อยากจะฝากค่ะว่าถึงแม้ว่าหนูเป็นคนที่ไม่มีสัญชาติแต่หนูก็เป็นมนุษย์ธรรมดาคนหนึ่งหนูก็ฟังคนหนึ่งนะคะหนูก็อยากเป็นครูสอนเต้นหนูก็อยากเป็นครูสอนเต้นอยากเรียนรักษาวัฒนธรรมไทยค่ะเพราะของการทำเต้นทำสิ่งหนูอยากจะเก็บไว้แล้วก็อยากเผยแพร่การวางของวัฒนธรรมไทยเผยแพร่กับคนชาวโลกที่ไม่รู้เกี่ยวกับวัฒนธรรมไทยค่ะหนูมีความหวังก็คือแม่หนูบอกว่าถึงแม้ว่าเราจะไม่มีสัญชาติไทยหรือคุณเขาจะดูสิ่งอย่างแค่ไหนขอให้ลูกอดทนไว้หลังฟ้าฝนฟ้ายังไงก็ย่อมสดใสค่ะหนูก็อยากเป็นนกที่สวยที่บินได้ในบนท้องฟ้าบินไปทางไหนก็ได้โดยอิสระหนูไม่อยากเป็นปลาที่อยู่ในบ่อสีเรือนค่ะถ้าสมมติว่าถ้าหนูได้สัญชาติไม่ใช่แค่หนูนะคะอีกเพื่อนๆที่อยู่ในโรงเรียนนี้ชีวิตของทุกคนก็จะสดใสค่ะจากสีดำก็จะกลายเป็นสีขาวทุกคนในความทุกข์ก็จะก็เหมือนกับได้ความหวานเหมือนกับฟ้าที่สดใสค่ะก็สามารถเรียนต่อได้สามารถทำความฝันของตัวเองให้เป็นจริงได้ค่ะஎனக்கு ஐசி இல்லை எனக்கு ஐசி இல்லாத காரணம் அப்பா இறந்துட்டாரு அம்மா என்னை விட்டுட்டு போயிட்டாங்க எனக்கு வரையிறதுனா ரொம்ப பிடிக்கும் எனக்கு பிடிச்ச ஹாபினா வரையிறது அதே மாதிரி எனக்கு என்னோட ஆம்பிஷன்னா ஒரு ஆர்ட்ஸ் டீச்சராக இருக்கும் நிறைய பேர் அப்ளை பண்ணி சொல்லிட்டு நம்பிக்கை போச்சு படிக்கிறதுக்கு வேணாம் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு கடையில் வேலை செஞ்சு நான் படித்த ரெண்டாம் ஸ்கூல் தமிழ் ஸ்கூலில் வந்து எனக்கு ஒரு கேட்டிருந்தாங்க பெரியவங்க சொன்னாங்க இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு வாய்ப்பு கிடச்சிருக்கு பாருங்க இந்த மாதிரி டீச்சர் வேலை கேட்குறாங்க படிக்கிற டீச்சர் வேலை நானும் இன்டர்வியூலாம் அட்டென்ட் பண்ணேன் முதல்ல போய் இன்டர்வியூ அட்டென்ட் பண்ணேன் நான் ஓகே ஆயிடுச்சு இந்த நாட்டில் வருமானங்கள் வந்து இது பண்ணல அப்படின்னு சொல்லி மேற்கொண்டு அந்த ஈஃபோர்ஸ் ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி எதுவும் பண்ண முடியாது அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு ஏற்றுக்கிறாரு முடியாது சொல்லி அனுப்பியிருக்காங்க நாட்டுக்கு வரணும் ஐசி இல்லாமல் என்ன மாதிரி இன்னும் நிறைய பேர் இருக்காங்க அவங்க என்னை விட டபுளான ஒரு பிரச்சனைலாம் வந்து ஃபேஸ் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்காங்க நிறைய பேர் சூசைட் அட்டன் கூட பண்ணியிருக்காங்க ஐசி இல்லாமல் எங்களோட லைஃப்பை கொஞ்சம் புரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு நாங்களும் ஒரு மனுஷன் தான் இந்த நாட்டில் இருக்கோம் அப்படின்னு தெரிஞ்சுக்கிட்டு எங்களுக்கு ஹெல்ப் பண்ண பாருங்க
Nearly 10 million people in the world are living without nationality. None in the country in which they live or any other country recognize them as their nationals. Imagine a world where you belong nowhere. This is called statelessness.